My dear students, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to give you exercises of the lesson The Boor, a drama which you have to study under optional English of grade 11 according to new course. Let's get started.
Learn English with Lachman.
Number A. Choose the correct alternative. Who is the main female character in the boor? Popova, Anna Petrova, Natalia Stepanovna, Elena Ivanovna. Its correct answer is Popova. Why is Popova mourning at the beginning of the play? Her husband passed away. Her brother left home. Her father has died. She lost her fortune. The correct answer is her husband passed away. What is Spirnov's main reason for visiting Popova? To collect a debt, to propose marriage, to threaten her, to invite her to a ball. यसको करेक्ट एन्सर के हुन्छ त भन्दा टु कलेक्ट अ डेट.
Which word best describes Spirnov's behavior in the beginning? Funny, gentle, rude, shy. Correct answer, rude. Why does Popova refuse to pay the debt immediately? She is leaving the country. She is broken. She doesn't believe the debt exists. Her steward is not present. Correct answer. She doesn't believe the debt exists. How does Smirnov react to Popova's refusal to pay? He apologizes. He leaves quietly. He files a case. He challenges her to a duel. Correct answer. He challenges her to duel. G. What does Popova do when Spirnov declares his love? Ask him to leave, laughs at him, shoots him, accepts his proposal. Correct answer. Accepts his proposal. What is the main theme of the boor? Love and transformation, power and corruption, nature and beauty, war and peace. Correct answer is love and transformation. Question number A. What kind of play is the boor? State its reason. The boor is classified as comic drama, blending humor with deeper emotional themes. The sharp, witty dialogues between Mrs. Popova and Smirnov creates engaging comedic tension, highlighting their strong-willed characters. Chekhov captures the absurdities of human behavior and social expectations through their interactions, making the audience laugh while prompting reflection on more serious issues such as love and grief. As the play unfolds, the humor is rooted in their conflict, where Smirnov's brash demeanor clashes with Popova's fierce independence. This dynamic fosters a deeper exploration of societal norms regarding mourning and gender roles. By intertwining comedic element with genuine emotions, Chekhov showcases how love can unexpectedly emerge from conflict. Through this compelling blend of characteristics, the play exemplifies the complexities of human relationship, encouraging audience to question traditional notion of grief and emotional expression. How long has Popov locked herself in the house and why? Mrs. Popova has isolated herself in her home for 7 months following the death of her husband. This expected period of mourning emphasizes her profound grief and reflects societal expectation of how a widow should behave. During this time, Popova feels an overwhelming sense of obligation to honor her late husband's memory, leading her to withdraw from societal interactions entirely. This isolation encapsulates both her sorrow and the pressures that dictate her behavior as a grieving widow. Popova's self-imposed confinement intensifies her emotional struggle, highlighting her vulnerability. Despite this, her fierce determination to maintain her mourning also reveals her strength. When Smirnov disrupts her solitude, it compels her to confront her emotion, challenging the societal norms that have kept her trapped. In this way, her grief becomes a vital component of the narrative, illustrating the conflict between personal feelings and societal expectations while paving the way for unexpected emotional development. How did Mrs. Popova treat the man at the door? When Smirnov arrives at Mrs. Popova's door, she initially reacts with disdain and hostility. Her abrupt responses reflect the emotional turmoil caused by her intense grief. Popova perceives Smirnov as an intrusive figure disrupting her carefully maintained mourning. Her defensiveness is palpable, especially as he demands repayment for a debt owed by her late husband. This confrontation underscores her vulnerability and demonstrates her reluctance to engage with the outside world. As the dialogue unfolds, Popova's interaction becomes more animated, revealing layers of her characters. Although she starts with a confrontational attitude, fierce spirit gradually shines through. Their exchanges, filled with sharp repartees, highlight the complexity of human emotions within conflict. Ultimately, this dynamic transforms their relationship throughout the scene, allowing Chekhov to explore theme of attraction and emotional revelation, hinting that love can flourish even amidst discord. Why was Mrs. Popova grieving a lot? Mrs. Popova's deep grief arises from the profound love she had for her deceased husband. His passing leaves her feeling abandoned, marking her emotional landscape with intense sorrow and isolation. For Popova, mourning is both a personal and societal obligation, compelling her to retreat from the social world as a way to honor her husband's memory. This prolonged mourning symbolizes the pressure women face to adhere to societal expectations regarding grief, trapping her in a cycle of emotional despair. As she navigates her feeling, Popova embodies the struggle between personal grief and societal roles, illustrating how these expectations can stifle emotional expression. Her commitment to mourning signifies not just love, but also a confrontation with societal norms that dictate how widows should behave. The depth of her grief reveals a poignant complexity, allowing adherents to connect with her character and understand the broader implications of societal expectations governing individual emotions and actions. E. Name the antagonist in the play. What makes him or her so? Smirnov functions as the antagonist, in the boor, effectively challenging Mrs. Popova's emotional state. His role is defined by his aggressive demeanor and persistent demands for repayment of a debt owing by her late husband. Smirnov's approach contrasts sharply with Popova's vulnerability as he barges into her life during a time of deep mourning, compelling her to confront both her grief and her emotional defenses. His unwavering insistence creates immediate conflict, positioning him against her desire for solitude. However, as the narrative unfolds, Smirnov's role evolves beyond mere antagonism. His persistence reveals deeper layer of character, showcasing how he becomes a catalyst for Popova's transformation. Their dynamic challenges conventional norms, illustrating that antagonism can sometimes lead to unexpected emotional connection. Chekhov uses this interplay to explore the complexities of human relationship, suggesting that confrontation can provoke growth and genuine affections, revealing the multifaceted nature of love and conflict. F. State the social message of this play. The social message of the boor critique the absurdity of societal expectations regarding grief and gender roles. Chekhov highlights the rigid norms that dictate how widows should behave, emphasizing the emotional burden placed upon women to conform to these societal standards. Mrs. Popova's prolonged mourning serves as a critique of the pressures that compel individuals to adhere to expectations, illustrating how such obligations can inhibit personal growth and emotional freedom. Throughout the play, Chekhov suggests that authentic emotions often clash with societal norms, pushing for a re-evaluation of traditional roles. The unexpected romantic tension between Popova and Smirnov challenges the idea that grief must equate to isolation and despair. Instead, the play proposes that love can emerge amidst conflict, advocating for emotional honesty over conformity. By intertwining humor with serious themes, Chekhov encourages audiences to question the limitations imposed by society, ultimately promoting a more nuanced understanding of human conditions. What makes Smirnov fall in love with Popova? Smirnov becomes enamored with Popova due to her fierce spirit and emotional depth, which emerge during their spirited confrontations. Initially, he is drawn to her defiance, her strong reactions to his demands reveal her resilience and complexity as a character. As their conflict unfolds, he finds her passionate nature captivating, which sparks a growing attraction despite their initial animosity. This unexpected emotional connection illustrates the idea that love can flourish amid discord. Moreover, Smirnov sees in Popova not just a widow, but an equal with a strong will. Their witty exchanges and the tension between them become a catalyst for a deeper relationship, indicating that true affection can develop from conflict. Chekhov effectively demonstrates that love is unpredictable and genuine feeling can arise even in the heat of argument. This dynamic not only makes their relationship compelling but also underscores the transformative power of emotional encounters in human life.
Critical thinking and interpretation. What is the main social issue reflected in The Boor by Anton Chekhov? The main social issue reflected in The Boor is the hypocrisy and artificiality of social behavior, especially among the upper class in Russian society. Chekhov exposes how people hide their true emotions behind socially accepted roles such as dignity, honor, mourning, and gender pride. Mrs. Popov presents herself as a devoted widow who has renounced the world, but her exaggerated grief is more a performance than genuine sorrow. Similarly, Smirnov claims to value reason and logic, yet he is ruled by anger, pride, and emotional impulsiveness. The play also highlights the rigid social expectations placed on men and women. Women are expected to be emotional yet submissive, while men must appear dominant and rational. Chekhov mocks these roles by showing how easily they collapse under pressure. The obsession with money, property, and honor reflects a society driven by materialism rather than moral value. Through comedy and exaggeration, Chekhov characterizes a society where appearances matter more than sincerity. The social issue, therefore, is not just class conflict but the false moral superiority people assume, which ultimately makes them ridiculous and exposes the emptiness of social conventions. Discuss the setting of the play. How does the setting contribute to Mrs. Popov's character? The setting of the play is Mrs. Popov's country estate, a closed and gloomy household where she has shut herself away after her husband's death. This confined domestic setting plays a crucial role in shaping and revealing her character. The isolation reflects her emotional imprisonment and her deliberate withdrawal from society, reinforcing her self image as a faithful and suffering widow. The setting allows Chekhov to intensify emotional conflict. Because the entire play occurs in one place, there is no escape from confrontation. Mrs. Popov's dramatic behavior, her tears, anger, and sudden emotional shifts become more visible within this restricted space. The gloomy atmosphere mirrors her exaggerated mourning and stubborn loyalty to her late husband. At the same time, the setting exposes the contradiction in her character. Though she claims to reject worldly concerns, the arrival of Smirnov and the issue of death quickly awaken her pride, temper, and desire to assert authority. Thus, the setting functions symbolically, showing how her mourning is a self imposed prison that collapses once real human interaction challenges it. How does the conflict evolve in the play? What role does social class play in the relationship between Smirnov and Popova? The conflict in the boor begins as a straightforward financial dispute. Smirnov arrives to demand repayment of a debt owed by Mrs. Popov's late husband. Initially, the conflict is polite but tense. However, it quickly escalates as both characters reveal their stubbornness
pride, and emotional volatility. Verbal arguments turn into personal insults, and the dispute shifts from money to wounded ego and gender pride. C. How does the conflict evolve in the play? What role does social class play in the relationship between Smirnov and Popova? The conflict in the boor begins with a financial dispute. Smirnov comes to Mrs. Popova to recover a debt owed by her late husband. Their meeting is polite at first but tense as Popova insists on mourning customs while Smirnov demands immediate payment. As the dispute continues, their disagreement intensifies. Both characters display stubbornness and pride. The argument quickly shifts from money to personal insults, wounded egos, and emotional outbursts, exposing their volatile temperament. The conflict reaches its climax when Smirnov challenges Popova to a duel. The dramatic moment reveals how anger and passion overpower reason and social decorum. The duel proposal is absurd yet significant, marking the turning point where hostility unexpectedly transforms into attraction, showing the thin line between love and hatred. Social class influences their relationship. Popova feels superior due to her aristocratic background and looks down on Smirnov's blunt manners. Smirnov criticizes aristocratic pride and exposes its emptiness. Through this class, Chekhov satirizes class arrogance and highlights universal human weaknesses. C. How does the conflict evolve in the play? What role does social class play in the relationship between Smirnov and Popova? The conflict in the boor begins with a financial dispute. Smirnov comes to Mrs. Popova to recover a debt owed by her late husband. Their meeting is polite at first but tense as Popova insists on mourning customs while Smirnov demands immediate payment. As the dispute continues, their disagreement intensifies. Both characters display stubbornness and pride. The argument quickly shifts from money to personal insults, wounded egos, and emotional outbursts, exposing their volatile temperament. The conflict reaches its climax when Smirnov challenges Popova to a duel. The dramatic moment reveals how anger and passion overpower reason and social decorum. The duel proposal is absurd yet significant, marking the turning point where hostility unexpectedly transforms into attraction, showing the thin line between love and hatred. Social class influences their relationship. Popova feels superior due to her aristocratic background and looks down on Smirnov's blunt manners. Smirnov criticizes aristocratic pride and exposes its emptiness. Through this class, Chekhov satirizes class arrogance and highlights universal human weaknesses. To what extent is the boor a satire on love and relationship? How does the conflict reflect Chekhov's broader view? The boor is a sharp satire on love and romantic relationship. Chekhov mocks the traditional idea that love is noble, gradual, and idealistic. Instead, he presents love as sudden, impulsive, and irrational. The transition from intense hatred to passionate attraction between Smirnov and Popov highlights the absurdity of romantic ideals and exposes human emotional inconsistency. The conflict in the play reflects Chekhov's broader view of human nature as contradictory and unstable. People claim to value reason, dignity, and morality, but their actions are driven by instinct, pride, and emotion. Smirnov's declaration of hatred for women collapses within minutes, while Popov's vow of eternal mourning disappears instantly when her ego is challenged. Chekhov also satirizes social institutions like marriage, honor, and gender role. By resolving the conflict through sudden love, he suggests that society's rules and values are superficial. Ultimately, the boor reflects Chekhov's belief that human behavior is comic, irrational, and shaped more by emotion than by social ideal or moral principles. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will be updated whenever I upload a new video. Thank you.